this computer again. Shit of a thing. All right. Now, so this is now an object that can read from the file in the path source test .txt. Okay. Now, no exceptions generated. So the catch block will not run. Now, however, this buffered reader object is a live connection to an external file, which is a security risk. Simple as that. Okay, so ideally what you want to do is you make a connection, you close it down. Now, it's still connected to it. Now, when you close your application, the connection is gone as well. But if you've got an application that's running there away, you've got a live connection to a file. So it can corrupt the file. It can also corrupt your code, I believe. Okay? So, what you have to do is you have to close it. All right? Now, you could close it in here. Right? But more often than not, you close it in the finally. So the command is close. So you should always close the connection after you finish reading to the file. Okay? This is the command. Now, you usually put it in here. Now, this is a resource. Okay, these are resources. So usually close resources in a finally block. That's what finally blocks are for, closing these dudes. Now, here's what you had to do. If I go in dot close, now in dot close, that's a file operation. So that itself has to be put in a try catch block. So what do you need inside the finally? You need a try catch block inside the finally. And you catch IO. I'm just going to print off E. And I'll just put in a statement here. Closing our buffered reader resource. And after the try catch block, I'm going to put in now closed. Okay, now no exception there is generated, but yet you still have to have that sort of structure. If you're going to close resources inside of finally, what you need also, you need to have a try catch block inside the finally. Okay, so in.close is a file operation. So it needs to be put in a try catch block, because a finally can't deal with an exception by itself. All right? It's not like a try block and a catch. You can't have a catch block with a finally. So what you have to do is you have to put a try catch block inside the finally. All right? Now, that's fine, but it's kind of messy. Doesn't look well. All right? So, try with resources is a way to do this without having to use a finally. Okay? Okay, so we're going to show you how to use type resources. So this is EX1. So we're going to go to EX2. Oops. Now, so it's as simple as this. So again, I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to create this path. So copy and paste it down. Now, I'm going to go try. Now, with the normal try, we just have curly brackets, but the try resources has a parameter list. Now, the parameter list is what you want to be closed. What do I want to be closed?
1, 2, testing, 1, 2, thank you.
Okay, so what I want to be closed is, let me just make sure this is right. This guy. Is equal to new buffered reader. This is here. Where am I? This guy, pt1. Files, all right, it's that one. And then we put in the curly bracket after it. Fuck it. Why isn't it working? Hold on a second. Okay, right. Now, right. So, now what happens here is that this guy here, that's the resource. All right. Now, notice you have parameters. Okay. Make it a bit clearer. You can have as many parameters as you want. Now, what parameters does a try take? The parameters a try takes is something that's going to be closed, or something that implements something called the auto closable interface. Okay. All file operations. So file, path, files, all readers, all writers, all read writers, they all implement what's called the auto closable interface. So anything that implements the auto closable interface can be used in a try with resources. Okay, so here's the try with resources has those guys. Okay, in here we put the resources we want to be automatically closed. Okay, here we put in a buffered reader which will read from the file src at test.txt. Okay, now this is not going to generate any exception, but it is closed. Okay, so we're just going to put in here So we could go, I'm not going to do anything with it for now. Okay, so try with resources runs. So if I run that to prove that no exception is generated, okay, so I'm going to run that. Okay, try with resources run, everything runs perfectly. Okay, and also this guy is gone. He's closed. You no longer have a live connection. Now, how do you test it? Oh, shit. You can actually test it to see if the connection is live or not. I forget how to do it, but you can do it. All right. So you don't need a final. All right. I'll do a little command inside here. So what I'll do is I'm going to create inside the try block. I'm going to create another buffered reader. So this is a buffered writer. Buffered writer, W-R-I-T-E-R, out, is equal to files dot. So buffered writer has to be, now it doesn't matter if you don't understand these yet, okay? It doesn't matter. This is just file operations we're carrying out. So files dot new buffered writer. So we're going to write it out to path 2, which you need to redefine, which is this guy. So buffered writer alpha new buffered writer path 2. Yes, I know, shithead. Now, this guy is used for writing. This guy is used for reading. Yes? They're two different objects. Now, so if I do this, so this is going to read from this file, which is this guy. So I'm going to go to test.txt and I'm going to write in, hello there, nice to meet you. Now you better have to close the files as well. So I post some text into test. Okay. There it is. Okay. Now I'm going to go out dot write. Okay. Now, so this is the object we're going to use to write to our second file. This is the object we're going to use to read from the first file. All right. So what is this one? This is the object we will use to read from test.txt. This is the object we will use to write to test2.txt. Okay, so we go out dot write. That means it's going to write to, bring up my pen. So we're going to write to that file. And we're going to read from that file, which is hello there, nice to meet you. So going to write to our second file, what we're going to write to it, we are going to, this is the first file, dot read line. Okay, so that'll read in a line from text 1, and then it's going to write it in to test 2, says I, hopefully. Okay. Yeah. Right. So if we're going to test 2, didn't fucking work. Fuck you. Okay. So I've done something wrong there. Something fairly, don't know what I've done wrong really there now. No, I don't know. Okay. Because you have out, buffered reader out files.
But no, that writes it into the cat, into test 2, doesn't it?
Yeah, hold it. Do you know what's wrong?
You haven't actually showed it.
Hold on, hold on. No. No, I've done something very simply around there because that it fucking works. You know, because I've a run in here and it works. No, that's just a name. So yeah.
That writes it into the file, but doesn't
Yeah.
tell you to show on screen.
No, that's not it. No, that's not it. So I'll try and refresh the whole lot of it. No exception generated. It's just not working. Right, that's neither here nor there. Okay, that's not that important anyway. The main thing is that guy is closed, right? But this one isn't. See that? So this one is closed. Why? Because it's part of the tribe with resources, but this one isn't part of the tribe with resources. So you can have more than one. So what I do is I'm going to put it in here. So I'm going to take it out of there. I'm going to put it in here. And here's the thing. Now, this is one place. Normally, when we're dealing with lists of things, we have a comma. You know something about this, right? Normally, when you're dealing with lists of things, you have a comma. This is one place where you don't have a comma. You get that, lad? Okay. So in a tribe resources, if you have more, each one of those resources has to be on its own separate line. Okay. So that is one line. So each of the resources has to be separated by a semicolon. Okay. Now, maybe that makes a difference. I doubt it. Let's see. Okay. Oh yeah, fuck it. That's right. Right. Sorry. No. Right. Here's the thing. You know, in terminal operations, remember in terminal operations and streams, it doesn't run until it gets to a terminal operation, yes? It also doesn't write the file until you go close. Did you get that? Mm-hmm. Right. So when I have them there, both of them are closed. So it's only when it gets to a close is that it writes to it there.
So you never close the writer.
Exactly. Okay. So I didn't close the writer before. All right. So if I put this guy in here, all right. So I put this guy in here. Now I've taken the text out of it. Take the text out. Now I'll run it again. And we'll go test2 is empty. All right. Now, if I went out.close, and I go test2, see? Just like the stream operations. It's just like the stream terminal operation. And funnily enough, when you're dealing with files, how you deal with files is through something called streams. File input streams, file output streams. So that's where they get the idea from. All right. So it doesn't write to the file. So I'll leave that there. So here, the file will not be written to until close. Okay.
Will it be read from once it's closed?
It will be read because this guy here is closed.
Or where it is, but
Yeah.
there,
Hmm.
it goes outside it.
It wouldn't be read or write.
Yeah, okay.
So if we swap them around, right? So if we take this lad out and put him in here, and we take this lad and we put him in here. Now, that might work. So I'll go to this one here. Now, that actually might work, that one. Okay. Yeah, okay, that does work, right? Now, the reason that worked is right.
Still go.
Right. When you close one of them, it's like a terminal operation. It runs all of them. Do you get me? But it doesn't, right? So that close runs everything. Okay, so if I take that out of there, all right, and if I run it again. So I don't have any.
It's been closed by the.
Oh, it's been closed by the fucking thing. Yeah. So if I just put the reader in there, yeah. I'll try put, yeah. So if I just put the reader in there, now that'll be just reading it. All right. So I'll go to this guy here, take him out, save that, go to examples. So the reader is closed, but the out isn't closed. But you see why you have to start thinking about what's happening where. The easiest way is to just peg them all in the tribal resources and they're automatically closed and they're automatically run. Tribal resources makes things infinitely easier. You don't give a shite what closed or when runs what. All right. So if you have it like this.
So once you get them closed, you close everything.
Right. So if I go to buffered reader, I've run the buffered reader down here. I have to take out that lad and that lad. We can't have a space. Put that guy here. If I have in.close, now I don't think that'll work. So I'll just go to test2, see nothing in it, nothing in it. Now in.close, as far as I know, that won't run it. No. Okay, so it has to be the out that closes. So if the out closes, that's going to run it. So if I just go, take out the in dot close, put in the out dot close, see, does that fucking write anything to it? It does right. Okay. But again, you have to start thinking, and you know, it's just, well, that's, so the out dot close, it doesn't close the in, but it closes the in to run. Do you get me what I'm saying? Whereas the in dot close only runs, it'll close the in, but it won't cause the out to run. At the end of the day, what makes it a lot easier is if you put in, so I'll leave it that way. So in order for you to get it to work, to be sure, you go in dot close, you go out dot close. Okay, so you have your file, txt, take it out, go like that, go like that, and you'll see that's created. Okay, now, or you could put them in a finally. Now, if you put them in a finally, you'd have to have two try-catch blocks. You'd have to have a try-catch block for the in close. You'd have to have a try-catch block for the out close. And also, by the way, you'd have to create this dude outside of the try-catch block. All right? Because the finally wouldn't be able to access that guy or that guy because they're local to the try block. All right? Try with resources, infinitely easier. I get the exact same code. I go down here and I am going to, hold on. All right. Right. So try resources. I go, I'm going to put this guy in here. Take out all this shit. I'm going to put the second lad in there. And I just go take out that lad, take out that lad. Actually, I'll put this in a separate one. So static void ex3. So I'll put it in a separate one. For fuck's sake. So I'm going to do these two. Then I'm going to copy this second try catch block with the resources. Okay, so I'm going to, don't want to run the second one. I'm going to run the third one. Here. Main. All right, now, so I'm just going to put in a little comment here. Code our file tx2.txt has been written to. So go to here, get rid of all the stuff, and then run it again. F11, test 2. Hello there, nice to meet you. Okay, you don't have to worry about what resource is closed because this guy automatically closes the resources. Okay.
Just a question here, did not have that same sentence there from EX2 or in the output.
Where is it? Oh yeah, I need to take it out.
No, I just thought it should be in there, but there's only one line. The thing there is already.
Where?
That sentence. You should add the begin.
Oh yeah, take out that. Don't need that. Okay. So take out that guy. So how does this guy? So put this over a couple of lines. This is the object we will use to read from our file test.txt, and buffered reader implements the auto closable interface. Okay, which means it can be used in a try with resources. So only objects whose class implements auto closable can be in a try with resources. Now, these are the dudes as well that are going to be, these are the dudes that as well that are going to be used in threads. You have to close threads as well. So previously, without these lads, they were a pain in the arse to use, okay? Because you could have threads, 2, 3 different threads accessing the one array list or the one stream at the one time. Does it take, and each of those 3 threads could be changing the values in your stream or in your list. So you got to ask, does thread 2 and 3 take the chain value or the original value? All those sort of things, okay? You have to close them. However, threads implement the auto closable interface, so you can use them with the try with resources. All right, make things a lot easier. Threads were a huge topic in Java 7. They're now a quarter of the size they used to be, less even. Threads were the streams in Java 7. They're much, much smaller because they're much easier to use because of these guys. Okay, so buffered reader in files, new reader. Now, by the way, each time you run it, it overwrites it. Okay, it just keeps overwriting it. If you want to go into the next line, there is a couple of other commands you need to do. Okay, so all it keeps doing is just keeps overwriting over and over. Okay, so try with resources runs. So what does this do? This writes to file text2.txt. The text. So this writes to the file text2.txt, the text that is contained in text.txt. Okay? Because this one here is text.txt, and this is text2.txt. Okay? So this is tribe resources. They are incredibly useful. All right? Now, you don't need to finally with tribe resources.
Every time you run that, just add the same sentence to the output.
It's just overwriting it. What it does is it writes over it. Whatever is there, it'll write over, hello there, nice to meet you. Now, I think the command is, I have to remember it. It is, it might be dot, I can't remember which one it is. Okay. When we get to it, I'll know what I'm talking about. How you piss off? All right. That's just going to take in the line and it's going to write it. All right. Nothing more fancy than that. So this is try with resources. So this is for reading in a file. This is for writing out to a file. So that's why I call this one in, I call this one out. Okay. It's closed. When it gets to the end of the try block, it's closed. You don't need a finally. Finally, what a finally is really about, you can put a finally in if you want it. What a finally was usually for is this. Finally was used to close off all your connections. That's what it's about. Now, if something else has been done to your code because of the exceptions, then you would put in a finally to tidy up your code. Let's say you have a nice ordered list. Your exception destroys your list. Your finally is going to repair your list back to its original state. All right? But you don't need a finally to close the resources. It's not needed. Okay? Now, so that is try with resources. So now we're going to go on and show you, we're going to create some of our own classes that are going to be used by try with resources. So static void ex4. End of ex3. Now, so we are going to do auto closable. So I'm going to create a new class. I'm going to create a class called bird. Okay. I'm not going to put anything in it, just a bird class. Okay. Now, I am going to attempt second now. 4 millions open here, don't want it. All right, so I'm going to attempt to go try. I go bird, my bird is equal to new bird. Okay. Now, that does not work. Okay. Bird, my bird is equal to new bird. Now, that does not work. Why? Now, by the way, unless it's checked exception, here's another thing as well. You don't even need a catch block with a try with resources. All right. Now, this guy, let me just show you what I mean by that. Now, if it's thrown, if your try resources is concerning something that throws a runtime exception, you don't need a catch IO exception. Now, you need a catch IO exception here because this one here, this is a file operation. And a file operation needs to have something that may catch an exception that's generated. So you could either put a catch IO exception or put throws up here. However, if whatever you have is in the try with resources is only throwing a runtime exception, you don't even need a catch block. I don't know if that's of much use, but for now we're going to leave the catch block there. All right, now, so try bird, my bird is equal to new bird. Now, that's not going to work. The reason it doesn't work is because the bird class does not implement auto closable. All right, does not. So bird class does not implement auto closable, so cannot be in a try with resources. Now, I'm going to, so I'm just going to comment out this guy. Now, I'm going to create another pub called, so what closes? It's well known for closing on time in Ireland, a pub. So I'm going to create a class called pub. And I am going to go here. So I'm going to say implements auto closable. I need to import, change to auto closable. I have to implement it. So the method you have is public void close throws exception. All right, so we'll just go simply here. Now, this is what runs when you put a pub in a try with resources. So this will always run automatically when you put a pub in a try with resources. Okay, so this is the method that will run when we put a pub in a try with resources. Now, we override the close method of the auto closable interface. Now, when you are overriding, you can choose to throw the same exception or a subclass of exception. Now, the close method of the auto closable interface throws an exception. When you're overriding a method that throws any exception, you can throw the same exception, a subclass of exception, or no exception. Okay, so throw method of the pub class is going to throw no exception. All right, so here we override the close method of the auto closable interface with a close method that throws no exception, which means you can have a try with resources without a catch. I'll show you here. Just going to quickly get this done. So I'm going to go, and also I'm going to have one method called void make money. We have pub making money, void pull pints. Pub pulling pints. Now, I can put a pub in a try resources. So we can go try pub, my pub. It's only available inside the try resources is equal to new pub. Go on to the next line. So inside here, I'm going to say my pub dot pull pints, my pub dot make money. I don't need a catch block. Okay, don't need a catch block. The reason I don't need a catch block is because if I look at pub here, the close method doesn't throw any exception. So if it doesn't throw any exception, I don't need a catch block. So what is this going to print out? So auto-closable. Pub pulling pints, pub making money, closing our pub, it should be. Okay, that is the close method of the auto-closable interface that's running there. Why? Because as soon as it finishes the try, it closes that resource, my pub. Okay. Now, it's probably not how you use it, but that's the principle of what's happening. All right. You usually use tribe of resources with any sort of external file, anything that's external to Java. Tribe of resources is the way to go, baby. Okay. Now that's us finished for today. So I will.
Did you see your pub class there?
My pub class. All right. So I will export that code. This is 6.4 using tribe of resources. Finish. Stop the